What's up everyone, I'm CallumOnToast, and in today's video we have part 2 of the Great League Battle of Spice, and that means 20 more insanely spicy teams taking on the Great League meta. If for whatever reason you haven't seen yesterday's video, I strongly recommend you check it out as soon as you're done watching this video, but with that being said, let's get straight into the question of the day. What is the one thing you enjoy most about watching spicy teams take on the Go Battle League? Let me know in the comment section down below, and with that being said, let's get into the Great League Battle of Spice part 2. Alright, so go into the first battle, lead XL Smoochum into a double. This is a fairly neutral matchup, I would assume. Of course, Payback probably would one-shot us, but the opponent only farms to a body slam, which is fine with us. We're going to go for an Ice Punch here. We didn't actually throw on good timing. We let a full double kick in for free. We're now going to swap into Phantom, and the opponent is going to throw either a body slam or a wild charge here. We can very easily let that go through. It is just a body slam, double resisted, doesn't do much damage whatsoever. We can now go for a Seed Bomb. Seed Bomb will grab a shield from the opponent. At this point, they do have enough energy for potential payback. We do shield, it is the payback. That would have easily one-shot us, and the opponent tries to catch a Seed Bomb, I believe, swapping into their Drifblim here, but we're going to full send a Shadow Ball, one-shotting the Drifblim, and the opponent's got a Quagsire in the back, and this is just 4 mud shots, I believe. It will just be an Aqua Tail, which we end up living, and we can fire off a Seed Bomb before they make it to the next charge move, or mud shot farm us down. We grab the final shield, and the opponent throws straight away. So at this point, we can just let this move go through. Aqua Tail does take us out. We come in with our XL Hisuian Voltorb. The opponent makes it to another charge move. We're going to shield this time around here. They go for the Aqua Tail. They swap back into double, and we're able to make a very nice catch onto our Smoochum. Body Slam takes out the Smoochum. We're now going to go for the Energy Ball straight away. Energy Ball will be enough damage to take out the double, and can we make it to a second Energy Ball up against this Quagsire? They are going to throw the charge move. It's a Mud Bomb, but it doesn't KO. We make it to the Energy Ball, and this is double super effective. It doesn't matter that we're only 1100 CP. We take out the Quagsire, and we're able to take that game. Into next game, we've got another triple shiny shadow theme team. I've only got the shiny shadow Hypno for the graphic, but they are all shinies here, and we see an air slash Skarmory, which actually isn't too bad for our rock types, as we are going to be resisting the flying type damage there, and they're probably still just running the Sky Attack and Brave Bird. We're going to let the first one go through. We're now going to swap into our Shadow Aerodactyl, and we are going to see the opponent stays in, allows us to make it to a Rock Slide, and Rock Slide is going to do huge damage. It would KO from that range, so the opponent does respect it. We are now going to shield. They full send the Brave Bird, even though that is resisted damage. That probably would take us out, honestly. Shadow Aerodactyl is very glassy, but we can at least live a resisted Poison Fang there, make it to an Earth Power, and does the opponent know about the Earth Power coverage? They don't, as they let it go through. We take out the Nidoqueen, and they've got a Trevenant in the back, and this is still not looking too great for us, because they will be able to outpace us to 2 Seed Bombs here. They're going to go for the first Seed Bomb, grab our final shield. We will go for a Brutal Swing just before they make it to the next charge move. Then we might try and swap and catch the move onto our Hypno. We actually wait 2 turns there, swap, make the catch. The opponent goes for the Seed Bomb, taking out the Shadow Hypno. They swap back into Skarmory, and we're able to fully smackdown, farm them down, so the opponent just concedes the match there. Into the next game, we got a triple Florida regional theme team here with our Corsola in the lead, and this is XL, I believe, also best buddy boosted, as you can see with the ribbon there. We're going to go for a Bubble Beam bait, which is nice because Seviper, is a very glassy Pokemon, probably going to shield that first charge move. Now we're going to go for the Rock Blast. Rock Blast still isn't a great charge move there, but it does at least grab the second shield from the opponent. And we are now going to use our first shield up the Crunch, and can we make it to the Rock Blast? Yes, we're able to do so, and from this range, this should now be enough damage to take out the Seviper. And let's see what the opponent wants to do. They're going to come in with Umbreon, so at this point, yeah, I agree with this. Just go straight for the Bubble Beam. This will debuff their attack, and also, we're not going to switch lock ourselves, so we can just let the Corsola go down at this point. Foul Play, even though it is debuffed, actually a Dark Pulse will be taking us out there. We can now just come in with our Heracross, and even if they've got Psychic, we should live that fairly comfortably with the debuff, but it is just a last resort, and honestly, we might commit to a full counter farm down. We're going for the farm down here, gonna let the next move go through. Even last resort will not take us out, and they've got a Jellicent in the back, so unfortunately we end up going for the resisted Mega Horn, but that still does huge damage, and it doesn't really matter what we threw there, because Carnivine can safely shield up the move and go straight for a Power Whip. Even Crunch would take them out. That actually was an Ice Beam, so really good that we did use the shield there, but Power Whip will be taking out the Jellicent, and we're able to take that game. Into next game, we got a triple, like, butterfly slash moth slash whatever flying bug theme that we got going on here. We're going to go for the Poison Fang straight away, unfortunately throwing on the CMP tie. Gonna let it go through, and it is just a lunge bait, so really good call there. We can now go for a Poison Fang. Poison Fang is also going to be no shielded by the opponent, but we will outpace them to the second Poison Fang, which is really nice because they are debuffed. They're going to have to use their shield there, and they don't commit to a full Volt Switch farm down either, so they're going to go for a cross poison, which is interesting and does explain why they went for lunge there instead of discharge, because they weren't running discharge. Now here up against Azumarill, this is really not a good matchup. Honestly, I'd probably just go for the Bubble Beam here, unless we get a boost, which we don't end up getting. Then yeah, the Silver Wind also resisted, but at least Bubble Beam has a guaranteed debuff to their attack. But let's see, we're now going to go for the Bubble Beam, which I do agree with, because honestly a boost doesn't make a difference at this point anyways, and the opponent will throw a charge move to get rid of us. We're going to just let it go through. Ice Beam will be taking us out, and the opponent blind swaps into Toxicroak. That's absolutely huge, and we're going to let this move go through. Really good call. It's just a Mud Bomb that is triple resisted by the Bug and Flying typing, and at this point I think we probably could have just committed to a full Confusion farm down, but we're going to go for the Psychic anyways, grab the final shield, and we will be able to go for that Confusion farm down, taking out the Azu, and we're able to take that game. Into next game, we got a shiny Ivysaur in the lead up against Carbink, so very good lead, and especially when we've got a shiny Shadow Honchkrow in the back, we absolutely want alignment here. We're going to swap Catch the Move here. Honestly, I wouldn't have minded seeing us throw a charge move, because you can see we're running Brick Break, which is really not a good fighting type charge move whatsoever. You're going to see it's super effective. It doesn't even do half of their health there, which is quite embarrassing for a fighting type, but they go for another Body Slam, and if the opponent wants to, they can flip this matchup, which is really scary if they're able to do that. We're going to shield up the Body Slam, we're going to overfarm as much as possible, go for a Brick Break here, and if the opponent wants to, they can shield this up, but the opponent gives up switch advantage there, taking shield advantage. That's exactly what we needed there, and now they come back in with the Carbink, I do believe. We can go for another Brick Break, not going to do much damage. No, actually, that was a Roserade in the back. So this point is looking pretty good for us. Although Roserade's still going to do huge damage, we're now going to swap into our Ivysaur. I think we've got 100 energy here, so going to go straight for the Power Whip, grabbing the first shield from the opponent, making it to Power Whip number 2 straight away. And this is going to grab the second shield immediately. The opponent will throw a charge move here. I think we just shield this up to be safe, and it is a Moonblast, which is very interesting and quite unnecessary as well. Just go for the Rock Slide, but either way, we can now go for another Power Whip. Power Whip takes out the Carbink, and the opponent will have to throw a charge move to take us out, as they are running Bullet Seed as the fast move. But now we can come back in with our shiny Shadow Honchkrow. Dark Pulse would easily KO, but just for good measure, we go for the Brave Bird, one-shotting the Roserade, and we're able to take that game. So going into the next battle, we see Bastiodon in the lead. So we've got 2 fighting types, including a Timber. So we just saw the... what's the middle stage evolution called? I can't even remember what it's called, but it doesn't matter. We're going to swap, Catch the Move. It is a Flamethrower. Now, this Timber doesn't have great moves, so unfortunately, not going to be able to do an awful lot up against this Trevenant, but actually, we might end up shielding just because we can go for a Rock Tomb, potentially grab a shield, because the opponent's probably not going to know the moveset here, and then this will also debuff their attack. So Rock Tomb does grab the shield, they can get a Shadow Claw farm down, but that's fine. We've got a Flash Cannon loaded. This is going to do absolutely huge damage if it does connect, which it does, and at this point we can just let the Meltan go down, force the opponent to full send a Shadow Ball, which they do, but they are in counter farm down range, so the opponent actually swaps into their Shadow Venusaur, which is a smart move by the opponent. Now, we're actually not running Rock Slide. We are running Cross Chop and Close Combat on our Shadow Machamp. At this point, we can shield this up, and I wonder if we can put them into range where just a Cross Chop is needed to take out the Venusaur. It's going to be close, but does this KO even resisted? Yes, it does KO, and now they're going to come back in with the Bastiodon. We can go straight for the Close Combat, and this is easily going to one-shot the Bastiodon. One more counter takes out the Trevenant, and we take that game. Into the next game, we see a Alolan Sandshrew into a Lantern. Gonna say swap into our Rowlet, and the opponent's staying in with the Lantern, so potentially not got a great response to a Grass and Flying type Pokemon, and they are gonna bank so much energy and then swap into Trevenant. I don't know if this Pokemon actually has any Flying type charge moves. I've not used it before, but we go for an Energy Ball, and the opponent does call that. Maybe they do know that they've not got any Flying type moves. Like I said, I've got no clue here, but they go for a Seed Bomb, taking us out, even though it's double resisted, but we can come in with our Sand Sandshrew, and we can go for a shield and then go for a full farm down here. They go for a seed bomb bait, which is unfortunate, but they don't make it to another charge move anyways. And then they actually come in with Annihilate. So remember, Lantern's got so much loaded energy here, but now we can swap into our Astonish Phantump. Sorry, not Phantom, this is a Pumpkaboo, and we're going to shield the Ice Punch. The opponent swaps back into the Lantern, but it doesn't matter. This is all going to be resisted damage. Thunderbolt doesn't do an awful lot. We can now go for a Seed Bomb here. Seed Bomb will be enough damage to take out the Lantern. They fully sacrifice it despite having quite a lot of energy there, and we can also make it to a foul play. Honestly, doesn't really matter what we throw here. Gonna grab the final shield. We got one more Astonish, and this just guarantees that they're in Night Slash range, and we've got the Night Slash already loaded on our Sandshrew. We can go for it straight away. Night Slash takes out the Annihilate, and we're able to take that game. So going into the next battle, we've got a triple Astonish theme team here with Palossand in the lead, and we are going to see a Skarmory. So typically this is not a great matchup. We're actually going to go straight for the Scorching Sands here. I'm not really sure why, and the opponent is just going to let it go through. So yeah, I think that's quite a waste. Obviously fishing for a debuff, but we don't get it, and now that really backfires because Scorching Sands doesn't do an awful lot of damage up against the Skarmory, but we can go for a second one here, and the second one still doesn't get a debuff, but at this point we do at least grab a shield, and at this point we're gonna let it go down. We've got two grass types in the back, gonna come in with our Shadow Amoonguss here. Unfortunately, I don't have a Shadow to take a snapshot of for the graphic, but it is definitely a Shadow as you can see in the battle. We're gonna go for a full Astonish farm down. Skarmory usually has a Mud Boy in the back, so let's see. The final Pokemon is going to be an Annihilate here. We go straight for the foul play. I think Grass Knot is better to go for, but I think we probably need two charge moves to KO anyway, so it makes sense to go for the cheaper move, and the opponent is going to fire for the charge move here just before we make it to foul play number 3. Ice Punch takes us out. We come in with our Shinotic, and the opponent's got a Lantern in the back, so this is looking pretty good for us. We can't tank anything. We are a Grass type, so we're going to resist everything they throw. They go for a Thunderbolt here. Just need to farm to the back-to-back Seed Bombs, and I don't believe Annihilate has an awful lot of energy, so Seed Bomb number 1 does big damage to the Lantern. Seed Bomb number 2 should be enough to KO, and then we should just be able to fully Astonish, farm down the Annihilate, and we're able to take that game. Into next game, we've got a triple bug theme team here with Beedrill, Charjabug, and Grubbin, and honestly, a bit surprising that we're not running the Vikavolt in the lead here, but we're going to see the opponent goes for Rockside. Beedrill is just about bulky enough to live there and not have the Mudshot farm us down. We're now going to go straight for a Durouan, dealing big damage there, and now we go for a Fell Stinger, looking like a CMP type as well, and at this point, Fell Stinger actually grabs a shield from the opponent, so that's pretty huge for us. We're going to take that shield advantage, then going to come in with the Charjabug, I do believe, and we are running Crunch, so we will at least be able to take out the Galarian Stunfisk here, but going to shield the first move as they go for a Rock Slide. They're now going to swap into Lantern, so definitely go for X-Scissor in this matchup. X-Scissor coming through, going to do some decent damage here in this matchup, and the opponent seems to be running Charge Beam Lantern, which is definitely not the play, and I always find, like, in the low ranks, why do they always run Charge Beam? Like, it just makes no sense, but we're now going to go for an X-Scissor. X-Scissor gets them very low. The opponent going to fire off another Charge Move. We can live this. Obviously, Rockside going to do more damage, so we let it go through, get the farm down, and let's see the opponent going to come back in with their Galarian Stunfisk. We can go straight for the Crunch. Crunch will grab the final shield from the opponent, and the opponent is going to overfarm, allowing us to make it to yet another Crunch. This will be enough damage to take out a Stunfisk. We swap into our Grubbin, and the opponent's got Blossom in the back, so we can go straight for an X-Scissor here. X-Scissor is going to hit for super effective damage. Grubbin only makes it to 1100 CP, so unfortunately that doesn't quite KO, but we can safely shield this up. They go for a Leaf Blade bait, but then they fire off a second Leaf Blade straight away, so we can very easily tank this. It is resisted damage, and we will be able to make it to a second X-Scissor in time, and this will be enough damage from this range to take out Blossom, and we're able to take that game. So going into the next battle, we see a Shadow Haunter in the lead up against Talonflame, and this is quite scary because, of course, Shadow Excadrill does have that Rockside coverage, but like 2 Incinerates after it boosts itself will KO. So unfortunately, we just go for an Ice Punch there. Could have gone for 7 Shadow Claws, which would have been a lot better for us, but either way, we grab a shield. We actually come in with the Excadrill, which I don't agree with, but we can see we just barely get off a Rockside here. grab that shield from the opponent. At this point, we just have to let the Excadrill go down, and then we will come in with our Shadow Growlithe. So 2 shields and a Shadow Growlithe is absolutely needed to sweep this game here. Gonna fire off the Body Slam straight away, no messing around, get rid of that Talonflame, which is really annoying for us, but the opponent comes in with a Galarian Stunfisk, so we've got a chance here, but we are taking super effective damage from the Mud Shots. Rock Slide would KO from this range. We're gonna fire off a Flamethrower straight away, save one of our shields. Flamethrower takes out the Stunfisk, and they've got Credilli in the back now, unfortunately only taking neutral damage from the fire, but these Embers are already chunking. They go for a Rock Slide, we're gonna go straight for the Flamethrower. Does this KO even though it's only neutral damage? The answer is yes, it does, and we're able to take that game. So going into the next battle, we've got a Shadow Banette in the lead up against a Shadow Gligar. So not super comfortable. They can very easily outpace us to the charge moves. Gonna throw straight away here. So I assume we've got a Jigglypuff that's like 10 CP, so probably going to use it as a sacrificial swap at some point, but we go straight for the Shadow Ball, and the opponent doesn't respect the damage there, and we're able to fully one-shot the Shadow Gligar. And now, are we going to make the swap? Yes, we are. Going to catch the charge move onto our Jigglypuff. Ice Beam takes us out there, but of course it does. It's only 10 CP. We're now going to come in with our Shadow Gallade, go for a Leaf Blade straight away, and the opponent is going to have to use their shield here, otherwise Leaf Blade will KO, but no, they actually let that go through. They're saving both shields for their Lantern, but I don't think it matters at this point in time. We've now got back-to-back Leaf Blades, we can just throw them straight away, and we've put them into range as well, where a Shadow Ball will certainly KO, so going to go for Leaf Blade, number 1, grab the shield, then we swap into our Shadow Banette, a bit unnecessary here, but we go for the Shadow Ball grabs the final shield from the opponent, they get the Spark Farm down, but it didn't matter. We have the Leaf Blade stored anyways, and Leaf Blade will certainly take out the Lantern, and we're able to take that game. So going into the next battle, we've got a Shadow Apom into another Lantern here, and good to see it here because obviously we've got 2 flying types in the back, but not good to see it because Lantern will definitely take out the Apom anyways, but we're going to let the first move go through. We are running Scratch as the fast move, and look at that damage there. We're now going to go for Low Sweep, one of the worst charge moves in the game. The opponent swaps into their Shadow Gligar, and by the way, this is actually a Shadow Staravia in the back, but I actually don't have that. Basically, we got the current event going on where you have to purify Pokemon to get charged TM. So obviously the Starly being a 1000 Stardust purification thing, I just purified all of them, so unfortunately didn't have one to make for the graphic, but it's definitely Shadow, as you can see. I believe this is like a 98% Shadow Staravia as well. We're going to go straight for the Aerial Ace. It doesn't actually take out the Lantern from that range, which is really annoying. We're going to have to use our final shield, shield up the Thunderbolt. The opponent's got a Chandelure in the back, and does Aerial Ace KO here? We need it to KO. And it actually does take out the Chandelure. That's insane damage, and we get the Wing Attack farm down to take that game. Into the next game, we got Druddigon into a Talonflame, so pretty good lead matchup for us. We're only running Night Slash, but I mean, it doesn't really matter. Night Slash or Dragon Claw, they do pretty similar damage, and as well Night Slash has the opportunity to buff our attack. We don't get it unfortunately, but the opponent's going to go straight for a Brave Bird. We're now going to swap into our Bombardier to counter the Poliwrath switch in, but unfortunately we are slightly behind on energy, and I do believe the opponent will be able to take this matchup if they want to shield up the Fly here. So we go for the Fly, they do shield this up, and now unfortunately they will just barely outpace us because we were a little bit slow to swap out. Icy Wind will be taking us out, but I think we put them into perfect range where we can come in, go for a full Shadow Claw farm down, come out with a Shadow Ball loaded as well, and they come in with a Drapion. This is a Dark type, but Shadow Haunter just doesn't care. We go for the Shadow Ball, nearly one-shot, and then we swap into our Druddigon. The opponent swaps back into Talonflame. For whatever reason, we can just go straight for a Night Slash here. Doesn't quite KO, but one more Dragon Tail does the job, and at this point, I think they are in range where we can just Shadow Claw, farm down the Drapion. They go for the Crunch. Can we get there in time? Yes, we're able to get the farm down, and we take that game. So into the next game, we got a triple Shadow Psychic type team, or Psychic Legendary team here, as we lead into Venusaur. All 3 Pokemon do pretty well into Venusaur, but unfortunately all 3 Pokemon are going to struggle up against the Mandibuzz that comes in. We're going to go straight for the Aeroblast, but the opponent uses their shield. At this point we just let the Lugia go down, yep, and then we're going to come in with our Shadow Latios. I do believe they actually undercharged that, I'm assuming, because it didn't KO. And that was a smart play, but we're going to swap out there, make sure they don't get any extra farm. And we're now going to go for a Dragon Claw just before they make it to the next charge move. Dragon Claw from this range probably does KO, so the opponent does use their shield there. We're also going to use our final shield. We're going to go and overfarm as much as possible, throw the Dragon Claw just before they make it to the next charge move. Dragon Claw will be taking out the Mandibuzz, and let's see what the opponent wants to do. They're going to come in with a Skeledirge here, and we are going to try and go for the Luster Purge. We then swap out there just before we get there. The opponent is going to overfarm. What are they doing? Shadow Mewtwo gonna win CMP. Easily go for a Side Strike, taking out the Skeledirge, and now we can just go for Side Strike number 2 up against the Venusaur, and this is obviously going to one-shot the Venusaur as well, and we're able to take that game. So a bit of a crazy end game there, but into the next battle we got a Shadow Typhlosion in the lead. We're also running A style double Shadow Fire with Lampent in the back and Ambipom as our final Pokemon. We go for the Blast Burn, that does huge damage. We then swap, catch the charge move onto our Ambipom. I don't even know what charge move they threw there, but the opponent's going to come in with Azumarill, and because Astonish is slightly better this season, this Hyper Beam might KO the Azumarill here. Oh, unfortunately, it doesn't quite take them out, and they do actually get the bubble farm down as well, which is not ideal. But we come in with our Shadow Lampent, and we're actually going to no shield here. It is just a play rough, which we do live. It is resisted damage, but we are running Astonish on our Lampent as well, so unfortunately no fire type fast move here. Gonna go for the Flame Charge. We're now gonna swap into our Shadow Typhlosion. Gonna shield up the charge move, of course. Probably gonna have to double shield here, but we should be able to Incinerate, farm them all the way down, especially since they do throw straight away. So they go for the second Rock Slide. We can now go for the full farm down, and let's see what the opponent wants to do. They come back in with their Clodsire. They've actually get to a charge move in time, but it doesn't matter. We can just come in with our Lampent, go for the Astonish farm down, and we're able to take that game. Into the next game, we got a Shiny Shadow, Alolan Marowak into Medicham, so a very good lead matchup for us. The opponent is going to stay in. We can go for the Shadow Bone straight away, and if this does connect, it's going to do huge damage here. We can safely no-shield this up. This isn't going to do too much damage. It's just an Ice Punch. It is resisted. Then swap into a Clodsire. We're going to go for the Shadow Bone straight away, and it looks like a CMP tie, so if that is the case, that should just be a Sludge Bomb, in which case we don't need to shield this. But we are going to shield. It is the Sludge Bomb, so definitely didn't need to shield that. We're now going to overfarm here. We're going to go for we're going to bank the Shadow Bone and then swap into our Suicune, which is also shiny, and Suicune is fairly bulky. Unfortunately, we do end up losing the CMP tie there. I think maybe we just didn't throw at the same time. Yeah, it wasn't a CMP tie at all. But we're now going to go for an Ice Beam. Ice Beam is super effective, grabs the final shield, and if they stay in here, we can make it to yet another Ice Beam in time. And from this range, Ice Beam will grab the final shield from the opponent. But it doesn't matter, we've still got a Shadow Bone loaded, so probably going to come in with our Marowak and throw it straight away. And that's exactly what we do. End up winning the CMP tie. Shadow Bone from this range does take out the Clodsire, so they waste all of that energy. And now they come in with Azumarill, so we're going to go for a Shadow Bone, and then we should be swapping out straight away. But we're going to stay in with the Marowak. I don't agree with this whatsoever. We give them so much farm there. So certainly not the best play, and if they go for Play Rough here, it is game over because, well, obviously they've got a second Play Rough loaded, but no, they go for Ice Beam and then throw the second one straight away, so this can only be another Ice Beam. I'm not sure what the opponent was thinking there, and now we can just go for the back-to-back Avalanches. We need to survive this final bubble. It's going to be very close, but we live with 1 HP and a Dream, and even though we didn't play particularly well, Avalanche takes out the Azumarill, and we're able to take that game. Into the next game, and this is pretty crazy. Someone has maxed out a level 50 C-Dot, and I've got no clue why. But we're going to see a Salazzle in the lead, so not great. We're actually going to call that the opponent baits with a Poison Fang. Such an unnecessary bait there. And now they're going to come in with a Water Gun Lantern. So we go for a Sand Tomb, probably expecting it to be an Ice Shard Lantern, but doesn't really matter. We debuff their defense. And now we're going to come back in with our C-Dot here, and we will be able to make it to a Grass Knot, as we did correctly go for 1 Bullet Seed before swapping out. And Grass Knot does big damage up against the Lantern. That's actually crazy damage, considering this Pokemon is like 600 CP. We also tank the Surf there. We swap into our Shadow Tyranitar, get a Bite, farm down, and they've got a Galvantula in the back, and this is game over. Unfortunately not running Smackdown, but it doesn't matter. 2 shields, we can safely shield that up, go for the full Bite, farm down, and we're able to take that game. Into next game, we've got a full Torchic evolution line here, leading with a Shadow Blaziken into Bastion, a great lead matchup for us, which the opponent is actually staying in for some reason. I don't know why. Clearly, maybe, well, possibly double weak to fire, but it's hard to tell with some of these battles if the opponent just doesn't know what they're doing. But here we're going to shield up the Stone Edge, go for the counter farm down. We come out with a charge we've loaded, and they come in with Cresselia. So we're going to swap into our Combuskin here, and I don't know if the opponent knows this, but they're about to find out that Combuskin learns Rockslide, and Rockslide one-shots the Talonflame. They come back in with the Cresselia. We're going to go for a Flame Charge throwing on the CMP tire. This will also boost our attack, so we might see a shield discharge move, but honestly, we probably just let it go through. I think the safe play is to let it go through. Future Sight does take us out. Now, Blaziken is pretty low, so I'd be interested to see if the Torchic does have any play in this battle. But we're going to go for a Blaze Kick here. Blaze Kick will get the Cresselia very low, so the opponent uses their shield, and now we swap into Torchic just to see it do something. We are running Scratch, it does seem so. And we're going to shield up the Future Sight. Didn't really need to do that. Hoping to get the Scratch farm down. They do make it to another charge move though. Grass Knot, even though it's resisted, does take us out, but we had the Blaze Kick loaded anyway, so that was all just for a bit of fun. But Blaze Kick takes out Cresselia, and we're able to take that game. Into next battle, we're going to see Ariados into double, and you're going to see the other two Pokemon are Party Hat Wurmple and it looks like a Party Hat Pikachu. I don't have them as the Party Hat variants, unfortunately, so for the graphic they've just got regular versions, but this is basically going to be a solo with a couple of sacrificial swaps here, and we're already able to make a catch onto our Party Hat Wurmple there, catching the Body Slam, and now let's see, we're going to come back in with our Ariados, of course, because there's no point coming in with the Pikachu. We're going to go for a Cross Poison, hoping to get a boost here, and we do get the boost. That's huge. And then we exit the app by mistake. We're now going to go for a Mega Horn. Mega Horn will do huge damage when it's boosted. I didn't even realize that we weren't running Lunge, but we go for the second Mega Horn. Mega Horn one-shots the Lantern. Insane damage there. We're now going to go for another Cross Poison up against this double. Cross Poison does big damage. Hopefully puts them into farm down range here, but we don't really want to swap out and clear our buff, so we might just stay in, hope for the farm down in time, but we're not able to get there. This Body Slam will get us incredibly low, nearly one-shots us there, but we come out with another Mega Horn loaded, and it's a Vileplume in the back. Mega Horn one-shots the Vileplume, and we didn't even need the Pikachu there, and we're able to take that game. And into the next battle, we've got a Bibarel in the lead, gonna say swap into our Giraffe Rig. The opponent stays in for ages before swapping into a Azumarill, so clearly not a great response here because obviously we are running Trailblaze, that does big damage, it boosts our attack, and if the opponent did swap out straight away, we probably could fight for switch advantage here, but we're actually going to choose not to. We come back in with our Bibarel, and honestly, I would just shield this up and then go for a full water gun farm down, but we're actually going to no shield. This is really risky, but it's a play rough. That does huge damage. Honestly, one Razor Leaf probably KOs, but the opponent comes in with Talonflame. What on earth are they doing? We can go for a Hyper Fang, grabbing a shield there, and now we make it to a Surf as well, and this will be grabbing the final shield from the opponent, and now we've got two shields and a Parugly, and things are actually looking a lot better for us. We can just safely shield this up. The opponent doesn't have much energy on their Victory Bell. They're going to swap back into it. We overcome just a small amount, go for the Aerial Ace. This will be KOing the Victory Bell, and now can we make it to a Thunder up against the Talonflame? I think we can. I don't think they're at 100 energy just yet. They go for a Fly, but we're able to make it to the Thunder, and this is certainly going to be enough damage to take out the Talonflame, and we're able to take that game. So that's going to be it for today's video. If you did enjoy it, please make sure you leave a like, leave a comment letting me know, and as well, don't forget to respond to the question of the day if you haven't done so already. And if you're not seeing more content like this in the future, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on post notifications. That way you'll be notified whenever I upload a new video. But with that being said, thank you all so much for watching today's video, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.